Hey DIY team, we're here post-move and we're going to be delivering this video review for this product here, which is the Saker Smart Gauge contour gauge, and we're going to be using the DIY with Chris review template to be going over some of the features here, and then you'll also be able to check out some clips of us using it and the results, durability and whatnot. So let's go ahead and get going. We'll open up this package here. Our package is a little bit roughed up, but it did have to go through customs. So most things that are going through customs usually don't fare too well in our experience here. So in the package you get the contour gauge. You also get your instructions here. So some things to show on here, it does give you some dimensions that are here. So these are all metric on this side here. You have the front. This is the 10-inch version. There's also a 5-inch, or if you're in Germany or EU, there's a 25 centimeters, which is the equivalent to this one, and then they have the smaller one as well. So like this says, if there's any issues, if you have 1 year to receive a full refund or replacement free of charge, and that is the email to contact them with. They also have their website as well. So that's the rough dimensions. All right, so we have the tree that is here, and I've already drawn the shape onto the paper using the contour gauge. So I don't know if you can see the line at all, but it is pretty dang close, pretty accurate. Right there on the edge. I'll go ahead and move this so you see that rough outline. And we do have that stair step feature because of the different contour splines that are there. Overall, those are pretty small. And if we just take, just like most of these gauges, if you want to make it a little bit rounder, so take our pencil here, and if you just follow it, take more time than I am. If you just follow that with a pencil or something thicker, then you can really round that out, and then we can cut that out as a template if we needed. If we look at the instructions here, it does go a little bit more in depth on the dimensions. So as you can see in this part, it has a few more dimensions there in both metric and imperial standards. So some other basic information about tightening and loosening, adjusting with the provided wrench that comes with it. Nothing on the back side there. So this is it on both sides. So on this side here we have this wrench that is taped to it, and you adjust it using these holes here. I believe it's the top one. So both of them have their own nut that's in there, so you can adjust them. We have a measuring system on this side, which is centimeters up top, inches on the bottom, and they're also on the reverse side as well, centimeters on top, and the numbers are upside down, so just depending on which way you want to use it. So the right side up here, and then flip it over, right side up there, so it works on both sides. This can be picked up on Amazon. The price for it listed, original price is $39.99. The price that is available right now is reduced to $29.99, and then there is an additional 30% savings directly on the Amazon product page. You can see the links right there. The description, you can see there, has a few different points that they want to capture. One thing, just like a few people had commented, is when I start it right here in the middle, there's not much budge at all. But as you start getting towards the outside here, and I'm trying to trace that, it definitely does move a little bit more. I think I would prefer with this tool, if on one edge here I could have a flat edge, and on the other edge to just stick with this traditional style, I think would be more desirable for me. That way you have both options, especially where you can measure from both sides. accurately. Precise shape duplication with all the contour spines allows you to get something that is very close to what the original shape is going to be that you're trying to measure. You may have to do some rounding off, but it's going to get you very close. Adjustable and locking features, so after you do lock in that shape, you can lock these spines in place and allow you to draw that and be able to cut out that shape on your material. Good material and portable. Contour gauge is made of high quality ABS plastic, high strength, rust proof, and durable. Easy to use. Our contour gauge measures 5 inches and 10 inches, can be used to measure the shape of irregular objects, and extensive application. It can be used on lots of different profiles or edges to accurately transfer shape to the material that needs to be cut. Overall dimensions given on Amazon is the length of 11.57 inches, width of 3/4 inches, height of 5.39, and a weight of 14 ounces. The color is black and orange. Ratings overall from Amazon, Amazon.com is 4.6 from 14,343 global reviews. And from Amazon.de shows a 4.6 star rating average from 3,587. So with that still in place, I can lock those spines. Contents of this is the actual Saker gauge, the Allen wrench, and the instructions. As far as any warranty or refund goes, it's just what was mentioned on the back of the packaging. If there's any issues, you have a year to receive full refund or replacement free of charge. Delivery, this was sent straight from the manufacturer to us on 17 June and arrived here. We picked it up on 2 July. It had probably been there a couple days, and that was going across customs international borders to Germany. So shipping overall wasn't bad at all. Common questions and answers that were there is the depth of the impression that is available. Depends on the model that you get, the 5-inch or the 10-inch. For this 10-inch here one, this depth that is available is approximately 2 7/8 inches. That is right here. The core of this, which is right inside here, is aluminum. The splines, so the number of splines across the full 10 inches is 145 different individual contour splines. And the 1-star reviews for this often mentioned that the splines were a little bit too malleable. So when they were trying to, so you push that shape in, whatever it may be, and then as they're trying to shape it, even when locked in position, that those splines were just a little bit too malleable and moving. I'm not having that same problem. We'll test it out a little bit more here that you can see. So for the individual splines here, they do work. They spring back into place pretty well, even being bent out pretty far. I mean, we're going pretty far, and it's going back in. And if you let it rest in that position, it's going to hold pretty well. But yeah, they're springing back pretty well with really no issues. If I push it this other way, you can see some slight bending here, but if I lock it probably right there in the middle, if I push everything here to the middle and just lock it there for a while, pretty likely that it's going to regain that positioning and then show and kind of fix itself there. And from Amazon, sometimes they were just shipped the completely wrong product, whether it was the 5-inch one instead of the 10-inch one, or somebody received a portrait instead of the actual gauge itself, but not very common there. One thing that was pretty big that somebody had mentioned though is the distance here on both of the end caps outside of the spines is is a good distance. That's about 1/2 inch on either side that sticks out. So if you're trying to put it right up against a wall, then you're not going to be able to get that tight corner on it. So you do have that gap. So they're saying that really you can only use it laying down, going against something, or possibly in the middle of the gauge in order to get an accurate shape. So there is that. Ratings by feature that were available on Amazon is easy to use, 4.6 star. The locking feature on here, 4.6. Sturdiness, 4.6. And accuracy, 4.5. And then the value for the money is 4 stars. We'll go ahead and start getting into showing how the product works. So we'll go ahead and do a little bit of durability testing here and see how it holds up to some drops and falls, and see if it's good there. Say I was working right here, we'll do a drop test just from right here, everything in place. I'll go ahead and just change it to where some of the contours are out. Again, they're all loose. I haven't locked anything in place. We'll do it from the same height here, kind of just chest height for me, and see how it goes here. So I'll do it again with locked, and I'm going to drop it just like this to see if it holds shape. Do it again from the other edge here. Gonna come this end here. And with it locked, I'll keep it open and we'll hit this edge. And unlocked again. Go a little bit higher this time. Again, flat, higher. We'll drop it with a little bit of a spin here. So we'll reset it. Hit an angle again. Everything is still pretty good. I don't hear any rattling. If I tap these, they don't seem to be moving at all. In order for me to move one of these pieces with it locked in, I definitely can. It's not terribly hard. And that's with the locking bar out. So with the locking bar out, I can still move it either direction without a whole lot of pressure there. So definitely dropping it or whatnot, you're gonna lose that. So the locking bar doesn't go that tight. So if we adjust our pieces a little bit tighter here, definitely a lot more resistance on that locking bar. And a lot more resistance here. What was pretty easy to push before, I can really force this, but it's, for the most part, it's taking all of the contour splines with it. It's not really moving those individual splines here. Let me show you from this side. Yeah, it's really moving the whole thing. And this isn't tightened down all the way yet either. So we can go a little bit tighter. So the screws that were in here were pretty flush with the housing. And now with this additional tightening, we're about 2 to 3 threads down. We'll go ahead and tighten it again if we can. That is very difficult to get that bar up with how tight it is right now. And again, I can still push this, but it's really pushing all of the splines with it at the same time. So for the most part, all I'm losing is the shape of these very end ones here when it's locked in like that. So the downside here is if we do have it tightened in that much, that just with the locking bar not being on, it's pretty hard to form that shape. So you definitely want to have it loosened up when you're doing your initial contour measurements. And then you can adjust from there. So yeah, right now is not really a good it's not very easy to run a shape right now. So we'll run it to where the head of this screw is a few threads above the housing. We can adjust everything nice and smooth now. All right, so I'll move everything nice and flush here, and we can check for any warping or damage to the contours or blades. So I did drop it several times. It went right on the end, right onto these points, the points of these contour blades. And overall, it doesn't seem like there's really any damage. Overall, it doesn't look like there's much damage to these blades on this end or this one. If we look at it from straight on here, the only one that seems to be bent out is the one that I was playing with in the beginning, and it's just slightly bent out. So overall, my thoughts on this, just with the few drops, I probably did 10 or so drops with this at different angles, with it locked, unlocked, and it is holding together pretty well. It doesn't seem like it is made of the most durable material, but it's definitely holding up with this initial rough play that we've, the initial banging and whatnot that this has been through. Most likely, if I'm going to be using this tool, I'm going to be a little bit more careful with it, especially if I'm in fine detail carpentry where I need those contours to cut a template that is going to match that piece that I need to work with. So I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I'm probably not going to be dropping it the same, but even with that many drops at that height. So at the highest point that we dropped it from is easily 7 feet tall. And we've ran that through a few times, so it's holding together pretty well here. Again, I don't hear anything loose or wiggling around in this at all. I'm still able to tighten and loosen it afterwards. After all those drops, it's still working just fine. The blades are holding together really well. The only one that's messed up is the one that I'm really bending to see how far I can get it to go. And even then, so we didn't break it, but it's bent out pretty well. So yeah, that one, if you bend it that far, it'll stay out of position, but we'll see if we can get it back in, throw a clamp on there or whatnot. So hopefully that answers any questions that you have, and gives you a good idea of whether this is a good product for you. This has been sold quite a few times, has lots of reviews on it. Overall, it's very well reviewed. I would recommend this to others. Not the top of the line that you can get, but it's definitely a good one for DIYers and somebody just working around the house and whatnot. So very good tool. And yes, I would recommend it for that group of personnel. If you have any questions, please let us know. Subscribe if this video was good for you and helpful. And as always, have a great day, DIY team.
DIY with Chris, giving you the tools to do it yourself. Today on DIY with Chris.